Who will be the next person to join the Straw Hat crew? Honestly, my answer to this question is now very clear. Definitely Yamato. Because when we look at what happened at the end of Wano, many people thought Yamato's chances of joining the crew had completely disappeared, but I think Oda did the exact opposite. He did not cancel Yamato's joining, he only delayed it until the right time. In fact, recent developments may be showing that Yamato has completed the mission, left unfinished, and is now more ready than ever to join Luffy's crew. So now let's take a closer look at all the details. Many people directly interpreted Yamato staying in Wano as giving up, because after the war ended, Yamato clearly said that he would set sail with the Straw Hats. Then he suddenly changed his decision and stayed in Wano. But there is a very important detail here. Yamato never said that he gave up on traveling with Luffy. He only said that he could not leave yet, so he did not throw away his dream. He decided that there was a responsibility he needed to complete before making that dream come true. Actually, from the very first moment Yamato met Luffy, he never hid the fact that he wanted to leave Wano. For years, he had been trapped on the island by Kaido, his freedom had been taken away, and his dream of setting sail had constantly been blocked. Yamato's greatest desire was not only to escape Kaido, it was to see the world, live freely, and go on a great adventure like Oden did. And that brings him incredibly close to the core spirit of the Straw Hat crew, because everyone in this crew is chasing a dream that other people see as impossible. On top of that, Yamato's dream is also connected to his friendship with Ace. Ace was one of the first people in Yamato's life who truly treated him like a friend. Yamato wanted to set sail with him, but because of the explosive cuffs Kaido put on him, he could not leave Wano. Later, Ace told Yamato about Luffy and his incredible dream. That is why Yamato does not only believe in Luffy's strength, he also knows the trust and love Ace had for Luffy. If you ask me, Yamato boarding Luffy's ship will mean that a promise Ace could not fulfill is finally completed. Luffy's role in Yamato's life is also much bigger than that of an ordinary ally. Luffy was the one who broke the cuffs Kaido had used for years to control Yamato. In other words, just like we have seen with many other crew members, Luffy also freed Yamato from his captivity. Luffy saved Nami from Arlong, Robin from the world government, Sanji from his family and Big Mom's plan, and he gave Yamato the freedom to choose his own future. This is one of the strongest narrative patterns Oda repeatedly uses when preparing a new crew member. Yamato's desire to join the crew is not just a fan interpretation either. While fighting against Kaido, Yamato clearly said that he would defeat him and set sail with Luffy. After the war ended, he appeared in front of the other Straw Hats and announced that he would travel on their ship from then on. Most of the crew members had even started preparing for Yamato to join them. Jinbe only reminded everyone that the final decision belonged to Luffy as the captain. So the story itself prepared us for Yamato's joining, and then consciously left that moment for the future. We also should not forget Yamato's chemistry with the other members of the crew. When Yamato introduced himself, Nami and Usopp were naturally shocked when they heard he was Kaido's child, but no one treated him like an enemy. Robin welcomed him with her usual calm smile, while Brook and Sanji got used to the new member very quickly. Later, Nami even invited Yamato to go to the bath together. Yamato's energy with Luffy already matches perfectly. While Yamato's presence would be a source of happiness all by itself for Sanji, his warrior spirit could also create a very fun dynamic with Zoro. But why did Yamato stay behind right when he was about to board the ship? The real answer to this came from Ryokugyu's attack on Wano. After Kaido was defeated, a Navy admiral entered the country almost immediately. Momonosuke and the samurai fought, but if Shanks had not interfered, we do not know how things would have ended. Yamato realized exactly this. Since Kaido was no longer in Wano, the world government, pirates, and other powerful enemies would want to take over this country. Yamato knew that if he left at that moment, he would constantly be thinking about Wano and Momonosuke. Yamato did not clearly say this real reason at first because he did not want to hurt Momonosuke's pride. Instead, he explained that he wanted to travel around Wano first, just like Oden. I think this decision had two different meanings. On one side, Yamato was staying to protect the country's safety, and on the other side, he wanted to complete the first step of the journey of Oden, whom he had admired for years. Oden had also traveled through different regions of Wano before setting sail. Yamato also decided to follow in his footsteps by first getting to know his own country, and then opening himself up to the outside world. This is where Yamato's latest cover story becomes incredibly important for our theory. Yamato's journey inside Wano continued across manga covers for dozens of chapters. Oda did not show us a simple trip where Yamato just visited a few villages. Yamato went to different regions of the country, met the people of Wano, faced problems left behind from the past, and completed the mission of taking Yasui's sword to Enma Shrine. In other words, the journey we were told about at the end of Wano actually happened and was not left unfinished. This journey also allowed Yamato to step out of Kaido's shadow. Some children threw stones at Yamato because he was Kaido's child. Yamato, instead of attacking them or running away from his identity, faced that hatred. Later, he rescued missing people, stopped the threat created by former beast pirates, and earned the trust of the people of Wano. To me, all of this was the beginning of Yamato becoming a hero under his own name, instead of hiding behind someone else's identity by saying, "I am Odin." And the message given at the end of this entire cover story makes the theory even stronger. Yamato completed his journey, returned to the flower capital, and said to Luffy that Wano had finally found peace again. This sentence cannot have been chosen randomly, because the biggest issue preventing Yamato from leaving with the Straw Hats was Wano's safety and this journey he had to complete. Now the journey is over, and Wano has found peace again. In short, the first major obstacle in front of Yamato may now have disappeared. All of this directly reminds me of Jinbe's joining process. When Luffy invited Jinbe to join his crew at Fishman Island, Jinbe actually wanted to accept that offer. But he needed to cut his ties with Big Mom, protect his old crew, and complete certain responsibilities he could not leave behind. That is why he did not join Luffy immediately. But none of us saw this as Jinbe completely rejecting the invitation, because the story was clearly preparing the fact that one day he would return and stand beside Luffy. Later, Jinbe appeared in front of Luffy at Whole Cake Island and announced that he would leave Big Mom's crew. Just when we thought he would finally go with the Straw Hats, he stayed behind with the Sun Pirates so his friends could escape. So Jinbe also delayed his joining once again for the safety of his friends. Then, right before the raid on Onigashima was about to begin, while everyone was preparing for the Great War, he appeared in the middle of the sea and introduced himself as the helmsman of the Straw Hat crew. In that moment, he did not only announce to Luffy's friends, but to everyone there, that he was now a Straw Hat. I think we are seeing the exact same structure with Yamato. Yamato said he wanted to join the crew, but stayed behind for the safety of his friends and his country. The issue Jinbe needed to complete was Big Mom and the Sun Pirates. The issue Yamato needed to complete was Wano's safety and his journey through the country. After Jinbe handled everything, he returned right before one of Luffy's biggest battles. I think Yamato will also appear in front of Luffy in the same way, after completing his own responsibility. In fact, instead of Yamato boarding the Sunny during a normal and calm moment, it would be much more impactful for him to appear right before a major war begins. Imagine the Straw Hats facing a force much bigger than themselves, and suddenly we see Yamato's attack. Then Yamato could introduce himself, just like Jinbe did, not as Kaido's child, but as the newest member of Luffy's crew. Honestly, I cannot think of a bigger scene for Oda to bring back a strong and popular character like Yamato. There are a few different possibilities for how this return could happen. The world government could go after Wano, or Blackbeard could attack to seize Pluton hidden beneath the country. In a situation like that, Yamato could defend Wano one last time alongside Momonosuke and the samurai. When Momonosuke proves that he can protect his country with his own power, Yamato will no longer need to stay behind. Yamato can then complete his mission and leave Wano to join Luffy's approaching final war. Yamato joining the crew would also take the Straw Hats to a completely different level in terms of power. Yamato was strong enough to stand against Kaido on his own. He can use Advanced Conqueror's Haki and perform ice-based attacks thanks to the legendary Okuchi no Makami fruit. But what makes Yamato suitable for the crew is not only his strength. Like Luffy, he loves freedom, enjoys having fun, speaks very directly, and when necessary, puts his life on the line for his friends without hesitation. This personality fits perfectly into the chaos on the Sunny. Of course, the fact that Yamato's devil fruit is described as Wano's guardian deity is the strongest argument for those who think he will stay in the country. But I think Yamato's entire life is built around rejecting the fate other people chose for him. Kaido wanted Yamato to rule Wano in his name. Yamato chose to be free and set sail. On top of that, Wano cannot depend on Yamato forever. When Momonosuke becomes a true shogun and the country builds its own defense, Yamato can finally start living his own life. That is why, honestly, I truly believe the next Straw Hat member will be Yamato. He said many times that he wanted to join the crew. Luffy left the door open for him. He fulfilled the responsibility that required him to stay in Wano, and he completed his journey through the country. Now the only thing missing is the right moment. Just like Jinbe returned right before the Onigashima War, Yamato will appear right before one of Luffy's biggest battles, and this time, he will truly board the Sunny. So, do you think Yamato will be the next person to join the Straw Hat crew? Do you think Yamato will return right before a major war, or will he remain as Wano's permanent guardian? Also, which crew member do you think Yamato would have the best dynamic with? Luffy, Zoro, Nami, or Sanji? Definitely share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. See you in the next One Piece video. Take very good care of yourselves.